And so I put the link in the chat box, but there's a couple things that we're going to be doing here in this to make it a little more interactive. As you can see, we're using Slido to kind of do a few responses. And we'll also have a Q&A section in Slido. So if you have questions, you can put them in there, and then you can upvote and talk to, you know, kind of add emphasis to questions that you think are also important. As we go along, that Slido code is outlined in Purdue Gold. So if you lose it, that's how you get back to it. Also in the top right corner of the slides as we go along, there's going to be a smaller QR code. And I know it's kind of confusing with multiple ones, but that one is a link to a survey that we will want to get. Just if you want more information, if anything that we talk about today lands with you and you really, you know, want to learn more, scan that, answer a couple quick questions, and we'll get back in touch with you about some of our programs, plans of study, tour of our awesome new building, things like that. So without further ado, I think we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves, and while everyone's kind of filling in the Slido word cloud. So can you go to the next slide, Nate? Okay, so I'm Dr. Sarah Winnicke McMillan. I am an associate professor in ABE. I am in our environmental natural resources engineering major. I listed some of the courses I teach there. You guys can read, I don't need to list them all, but my primary area is ecological restoration and water quality engineering.
And I'm Dr. John Evans. I'm an assistant professor in ABE. You can see some of the courses I teach there as well. My main research focus is precision ag, machine automation, and robotics.
And now we're going to let some of our awesome undergrads who come to join us today introduce themselves as well. Megan?
Hi, can everybody hear me? Okay, good. No connection issues. I'm Megan Casey. I'm a senior in ENRE, and my favorite class in ABE has been one of the classes Sarah just talked about, ecological restoration engineering. We got to do a lot of screen design stuff that was pretty cool. I've been in Dr. McMillan's lab working on my own research project since 2018. I've had an internship with IDEM, and I'm also on the cross-country and track team. And after college, I plan to get a consulting job in the restoration field.
My name is Garrett Ella. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I am a senior in environmental and natural resources engineering, and just some of the things that I'm involved with and I'll talk about later is the American Society of Agricultural and Biological Engineers, ASABE, and Purdue Ag Council. But I have in the past done internships with the government, a 3-session co-op rotation with a land development civil engineering firm, and that kind of helped me figure out what my future plans were and helped me get into a career with hydraulic and hydrologic modeling.
Hey everybody, my name is Claire McNicholas. I'm a junior in Machine Systems Ag Engineering with a minor in Communications. So a little bit about me. My favorite class so far in Ag Engineering has been ABE 290, which is sophomore seminar. It was really a great opportunity to kind of like see some opportunities we could have like in the future, like past graduation and everything. So I really enjoyed being able to experience that. And just some experience I've had I was in EPICS my freshman year, which is Engineering Projects and Community Service. So I was able to actually like work hands-on on a project, and I'm currently doing some research with Ag Alumni Seed in popcorn.
Great. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And I think we're going to close off our event and stop the word cloud. And I'm going to switch if I can. Oops. And of course, it went away. Oh, no. You know, technology is never your friend when you try to make it work correctly. Let me try it again. I want to just preview it. Present mode, please work. All right, there it's back. I'm going to try to swap over and share my screen. So this is what you guys showed us. Lots and lots of food, lots of interesting and different foods. Not surprising, steak is right in the middle. I bet you guys eat lots of steak as college students, right? Mine, I can see a few people must have upvoted it. I picked strawberries. It's one of my favorites, and you'll see why in a minute. I'm gonna tell you a little story about it. But lots and lots of varieties of food. And one of the reasons we talk about food a lot is because we all love to eat, and it's one of my favorite hobbies is cooking. But agricultural and biological engineers really kind of sit at this heart of how we bring food from the farm to the table, but also how all the pieces of our environmental and agricultural systems work together to create a sustainable system that only feeds, you know, everyone, not just, you know, people here or whatever. So it's a lot more about sustainability, inclusivity, global outreach, things like that. So I'm gonna stop sharing and let Nate go back to the slide deck if that's okay. All right, so I told you mine was strawberries, and the reason I picked this is because it is truly one of my favorite foods. I love strawberries, and I started loving them when I was a kid, and we had a giant strawberry patch in our garden. I grew up in a small town in Iowa, not too far away from Indiana, lots and similar kinds of corn and soybeans out my door, but I also was a town kid, and so I didn't grow up on a farm. But we did have a lot of backyard gardening. And when I looked at kind of the fact that when we were kids, we got strawberries in May and June, that was about it. Now we get strawberries year round. And it's a pretty high tech process. We grow strawberries genetically and we change how they grow. We've done a lot of work on how to make the perfect strawberry. We put them in hoop houses, and we put them in nurseries, and we have lots and lots of irrigation systems, high-tech sensors to be able to monitor all of that. So I think the interesting piece about this particular crop is that it crosses so many components of water and environmental sustainability, how we bring food to people who need it and want it, how do we do so in a way that works across many disciplines. We work, you know, not just with engineers, but with soil scientists and other folks as well. So it highlights a lot of the components of how ABE is really broad and interdisciplinary and can be very diverse. Can we go to the next slide, please? Go ahead, John.
So that's a great segue. So we're pretty unique in ABE in that we have actually 3 different majors. So we have biological engineering, which will have their own EYM session that you can attend. And then we have agricultural engineering and environmental and natural resources engineering, which we're going to talk about today. So we're a pretty neat department. We are well recognized for our excellence, and we're going to talk more about that, but we just got ranked #1 in the nation again. We have small class sizes with a lot of hands-on experience, and I think that's one of the things that really makes us special and unique across campus. Faculty who are committed to your success. So we really care about our students and want you guys to be successful and work hard to make sure that happens. Engagement with the student community. We'll talk more about that later with our student clubs. International impact. So we do a lot of work internationally, and we'll touch more on that going forward. And then our students come out and get meaningful careers, and we have alumni who are leaders in their field. So truly a unique place in ABE.
So one of the exciting things about our department is that we have a brand new building that we're going to be moving into next semester. This is a photograph, so you can see it's practically finished. There's a few bits of construction equipment outside. They're doing a lot of the finishing touches inside, but we have just really great resources for students, maker spaces on every floor, lots of hands-on labs, 2-story hydraulics and engineering machines kind of system lab area that we can bring in some big equipment for folks to work on and get a lot of hands-on experience. We have chemistry and biological labs throughout the building. That top floor is all windows and a beautiful biological lab area. So really excited to be entering into this brand new space, and would love to take you on a tour if you want to come check it out next spring. So make sure you turn your sound up, Nate, and it should go. Sorry, I was muted for a second. So the next is another Slido link. So if you've forgotten it or it went away from your phone, there it is again. What are some things that landed with you in this video? So this is a summary of our profession put together by our main professional society. So populate, add 1, 2, 10 words, whatever you want. You can add multiple things here, I think. So go ahead and try to, yeah, let us know what you think. While that's happening and everybody looks like they're got it, I'm going to switch over and share my screen. Okay, Nate, so can you give me a chance to do that? Perfect, thank you. And share. So this is getting to be complicated. You can imagine, needed to practice. As we're lining up all these words, clearly sustainability is the one that is front and center and the biggest. As you all probably have played with these word clouds before, the more times something gets typed in, the bigger the word gets. And there's some interesting ones popping around the outside about innovation and environment and change and food, global impacts. And there's a lot of little ones. And I think this points to the fact that we in our discipline have a lot of components that touch on a lot of areas of environmental areas around food, around clean water, but also around how do we do that in a very efficient, highly innovative, building on all the technology that's, you know, in your smartphone as well as in your vehicles and your cars you drive around every day, to try to do so in a really efficient and cost-effective and sustainable way. So I'm going to stop sharing and go back to the slide deck. So thank you for doing that. That was really cool. This one's me, right? Can't always keep everything straight. So while all of those words you guys created, they probably fall into one of these major buckets, right? And can you click again, Nate? I think there's a water. There should be a water on the bottom there. There we go. I don't know why that was animated. Thank you. So we work really hard to integrate all of these 3 grand challenges, and they're pretty common throughout all of our projects, our classes at some level. And we're going to talk a little bit about how the food and energy and water nexus really kind of encompass those things that make ABE kind of what it is, and how we provide the skills and those things for our students to be successful in either or all of these areas should they choose to do that following graduation. And as Dr. Evans mentioned, we are super excited because we are #1 in the country, and that is no small feat. We are a small program, but we are mighty, and we have been ranked #1 for 10 years in a row, and it's pretty exciting. So recent tweet from yours truly to do so, and if you want to go see Dr. Evans, myself, and a couple other faculty from our department on a fun but slightly cheesy video, go check us out. There's a little link there for you to go look at.
So one of the things I touched on earlier was this truly unique experience that we provide in ABE. So one of the really unique things is we are both in the College of Engineering and in the College of Agriculture. So what that means to you as students is you get twice the opportunities in terms of study abroad, clubs you can join, and scholarships. So really great place to be. I also mentioned we have small class sizes with hands-on labs. So many of the classes I teach are around 15 people when you get to the junior, senior level. So that's pretty nice, and it gives us a chance to really get to know our students. Individual advising and attention by faculty. So when you come in, you get a faculty advisor that you can go talk to about classes and really be a mentor throughout your progression through ABE. We have that 12-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So that's really good among the other schools in the College of Engineering. We also have, like I said, more opportunities for internships, student competitions that you can join, as well as undergraduate research and study abroad experiences.
So we're just going to highlight this really quickly, but we've already talked a little bit about our new building. This is the rendering from the artist, so it looks a little fancier. And there's a lot of innovation and exciting opportunities in this building that we're just really excited to share with all of you and with our grad students and the rest of our colleagues. But I really want to highlight on this slide is our scholarship. So we do, because we are a small department, $145,000 may not seem like a lot, but with a smaller department, that is quite a bit of money per student. And we award that to students in every level. So sophomores who come into ABE next year get a piece of that. And the last year was $24,000. For folks in your shoes, once they became sophomores in our department, were awarded these scholarships for academic excellence and leadership and things like that. And so I think we're going to talk a little bit about what is it like to be a student in our department. And so we have some opportunities, and our students are going to highlight most of these. So this is a picture of our student ambassadors, several of which are here right now. And we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the activities that you can do as a student. And we're going to start off with Claire McNicholas, who's going to talk to us about her experiences with one of those student clubs that's global in nature. So can you go to the next slide, Nate?
So I'm a member of the PUP team, which is Purdue Utilities Projects. And actually, so on the slide, it's the 2 pictures to the right, those like cars that the people are sitting on. Yeah, thanks for circling those. Yeah, so those are our PUPs. That's what we call them. So they're a utility platform that can hold, that can be used for transporting large loads over rough terrain, powering attachments such as like water pumps, generators, and we even have a thresher, and to perform tillage, planting, and weeding. So the idea for the pups and how it's global is so it can be used in especially like third world countries. So we're in contact with Kenya, and we actually have a 3-week like study abroad in May to go there as a team or as just part of the team with a pup to kind of show them like what the new things we've done this year with it and how they can use it to like help with their daily lives, because being a third world country, they don't really have access to a lot of vehicles or anything really other than their own hands and feet. So the big thing about the pup team and being a part of it is it's really hands-on. Like joining is like you can join as a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, anytime. You will start working on the project immediately, whether or not it's like a project that's already happening or maybe working, helping out some of the seniors during their capstones on the pup, or you can even be working on a project by yourself. So it's a really great experience, especially as like a freshman, sophomore, when you're not doing too much hands-on yet, because classes are still pretty general, to like be able to get the experience of hands-on working.
Great, thanks, Claire. And I will just highlight that the global opportunities do not just fall under the realm of mechanization, and although that is a pretty awesome project, we also have a lot of study abroad and senior design capstone projects that relate to environmental natural resources engineering. So those two photos are different projects. One in the middle is in Tanzania, where we built a water reservoir, did a lot of hydrologic analysis, similar to the things that Garrett is interested in. And the picture on the left is my research team, and I have several undergraduates working on sustainable urban agriculture in southern Peru. And so that was a trip we went and we're looking at a grower's field in the floodplains along the river, very arid region. And so we're working on how to help them with irrigation, but also soil health and things like that. And Garrett is going to talk to us about our student clubs.
Certainly. So I am in both ASABE and ABE ambassadors. I am the treasurer for ASABE, and I'm the 5th semester ambassador, and so are Megan and Claire, who are talking, a part of ABE ambassadors. And both of these programs are a lot about getting information out there about ABE and then the careers within each of the tracks within ABE. So they do this and they approach this in 2 different ways. So ASABE is a professional organization within ABE that focuses on career development. So whether that's, going through resume reviews or hearing from some of the experiences of, co-ops or internships or research from, fellow students, and then learning about what is offered, within our department, it's all about getting students in ABE knowing what kind of careers are out there for them, and then saying, okay, how can you pursue this? It's all about, getting you that next internship, that next research experience, the next co-op, so that you can eventually go and have your dream job. So it's a lot about, enriching your experience while here at Purdue within ABE, and then being able to pursue something that you see yourself ultimately working at. And then ABE ambassadors is a lot of learning what's within ABE and what that's about. And this goes, some of the best ways of learning something is through teaching it. So, ABE ambassadors is where we go out to, whether it be elementary school or prospective students in high school, or, you guys here at EYMs, and telling you guys, what is ABE? And, that's kind of something that there's a lot to it, because there's so many different programs, and tying that all together and learning what ABE is as a whole, and then also, what you can do with ABE. So again, this is, I know I keep hitting on it, but these co-ops, these research, these organizations that you can involve in, that all these things are offered within these ABE tracks and what's available to you. So it's all about teaching the students who are involved, and then the people who are going to be coming in, exactly what ABE is all about. So those are, exactly how you, really have the maximum experience within ABE is through these kind of organizations.
As well as student clubs, we also have a lot of undergraduate competition competitions that you can join. So we have our the soybean innovation competition, which is actually a really neat competition where they're actually trying to figure out new ways to use soybeans in products. And there are some really substantial prize money for students who participate and do well in that. We have the AgRobot Challenge, which is they're essentially trying to build a robotic ag platform or attachment to solve a problem in agriculture. So the last few years, they've been working on weed and feed. So that's essentially trying to autonomously identify weeds and eradicate them, either mechanically or chemically. And so that's been a great project through Purdue. I think they won 2 years ago now. And then we also have our quarter scale tractor team, which I'm the advisor for and I've been involved with for quite a long time. And that's a really unique competition. It's sponsored by all the big ag manufacturers, so John Deere, Case, AGCO, and basically teams build a new quarter scale pulling tractor every year from the ground up. We're given a set of rules, an engine and tires, and then the team takes over and builds the rest of the tractor. So it's a great opportunity for learning and meeting contacts with an industry, as well as all of these competitions.
Go ahead, Megan, you're up.
Okay, I'm going to talk about undergraduate research. As I mentioned when I did my bio slide, I've been working in Dr. McMillan's lab since the summer after my freshman year, and I really recommend getting into undergraduate research if you have a topic that you're especially interested in with ABE, or you think you might want to go to grad school, or even if you don't, just having something outside of the industry experience is really helpful to have, I think, and it teaches you to be self-sufficient. You know, people aren't always going to be telling you in research exactly what to do, so it's a good skill to be able to know this is the next direction I need to head in. So some of the work I've specifically done was I started out learning basic lab skills. I was doing soil and water quality research, mostly running tests in the lab, learned how to handle water and soil samples from a project we were working on in the Wabash River locally. And after that, I was able to get into my own research project, and it has a focus on green space in cities, and I'm looking at how demographic factors like race, income, and education affect the implementation of green space. How much of it is there and where is it? Things like that. So I have learned a lot from doing that project. I came in to ABE as, like I'm sure a lot of people do. Even if you think you know what you want to do, you might not. So it's really good to have a lot of different skills. I have lab skills now and computer skills, and those are things that I really developed more through research and self-teaching than sitting in a class. So I would really highly recommend getting involved in research. And the other great thing about research, specifically within the ABE department, is that ABE is so broad that there are so many different research areas. And since professors don't have as many students, if you approach a professor and say, this is really cool, or I like what you're doing and I think I want to get into it from this angle, they're likely to say yes. And it can be pretty much anything you can imagine that you saw in that ABE video that we watched at the beginning. There are people working on harvest quality and preserving grains. There's soil and water research like I'm doing. There's just a myriad of opportunities within research in ABE.
All right, thanks so much, Megan. And I would just highlight everybody's comments about how like those extracurricular professional development opportunities, you can go ahead, Nate, are the ones that really enhance your experience beyond the classroom. You know, much of what you learn in your internships, in your research experiences, in your clubs, and the hands-on things you do, that's what employers are looking for. That's what, you know, we as faculty looking for grad students are looking for. So what are some of the things that you see most exciting? What do you feel like this is something that I really find important and I want to do based on the kinds of things that our students were sharing about their experiences? So go ahead and vote. You can, I think it's not like, you know, a vote for whatever. You can vote often. So go ahead. If you want to vote for all of them, that's fine. So I'm going to give it just a couple minutes. And as we're going, Nate, do you want to just go ahead to the next slide, please? That would be great. Because I want to spend a little bit of time talking about our faculty and what we do. And I hope this will help kind of give us a better understanding of all of the bits and pieces. So John, do you want to go ahead and start? Sorry, Dr. Evans, would you like to go ahead and start and talk about our ag engineering side of the house?
Sure. So we've got a great set of faculty in this ag engineering side. I won't read them off there, but they are leaders in their field. And so there's a couple of key components underneath ag engineering and research we're doing. And one of those that's really big right now is digital agriculture. So I do a lot of work in this space, as well as agricultural robotics. So those both kind of evolve or feature a lot of data collection and data analysis. And how do we use that to more efficiently and sustainably produce crops and food for the world? Same thing with crop phenotyping. So trying to identify plants that are gonna, or plants that we can breed to make more robust plants going forward. We've got a really awesome phenotyping facility that we're, Zhang is very active in, as well as a world-class hydraulic engineering and fluid power department. We are truly a world leader in hydraulics. There's no other place like it. We have the Maha Fluid Power Lab, which has a campus, or their own research lab just off campus. Dr. Andrea Vodka runs that, and it is, I can't stress enough how exceptional that is. They do some excellent work. And then we also do a lot of work around sensors and controls. So again, that's kind of in my area, but across not just in machines and robotics, but also in sensing the natural world. So like Dr. Venturi does a lot of work trying to sense like soil moisture and other properties to do with the soil to try to help make models for farmers to better predict when they should be in the field and when they shouldn't be.
Great. All right, I will take over and try to do it justice on the environmental and natural resources major. We tried really hard to bucket this, but it's really difficult because almost all of us do a little bit of all of these things. But we have some strong core competencies in data and analytics, in computational modeling. That includes both, you know, time series or lots and lots of bits of genomic data, or, you know, remote sensing and spatial imagery. So think about Google Maps on your phone, but higher level, and the information you can get from satellites to tell you, you know, colors of the greenness. So this is something that Megan was actually working with on her research. How she was sensing vegetation was using MODIS data, which is a Landsat data product that we can use to get a measure of how green a place is. So that's pretty outstanding kinds of technology that we have expertise in. And we also have strong expertise in field and laboratory-based engineering and design. So I kind of sit in both of these. I would say I lean a little heavier towards field and laboratory-based work. I really enjoy being outside. I like getting my feet wet, literally and figuratively. My students, we do a lot of work on wetland and river restoration, so I kind of fall in that ecological restoration bucket, but we also do a lot of things that relate to these other components. Like I said, we have a lot of folks doing things related to how do we scale up impacts from all kinds of things happening at small scales on a farm, but also at watershed scales. And those might be as small as, you know, the Wildcat Creek watershed, if you guys are from around here, or and if you're not and you're new, Wildcat Creek is a great place to go kayaking and hang out in the summertime, so check it out. All the way up to the Mississippi River Basin, which takes up almost, you know, at least 2/3 of our country practically, right? So we work at small to large scales, and we do some pretty amazing things. And we have deep expertise in these areas about land and water and soil and how water moves around landscapes, how it interacts with climate, how climate change impacts growth of crops, but also growth of forests. So we do a lot of interactions with climate scientists and climate change research. And then also thinking about how air quality can be mitigated and or, you know, made to complement the things that we're trying to do related to water quality impacts. So there's a lot of trade-offs sometimes when you try to fix one problem, you can kind of inadvertently cause another. So I'm really excited to share a lot of our expertise on these two areas, and these are the kinds of spaces we not only do research in, which you, like Megan said, are welcome to kind of find us out and check us out, but we also teach in these areas as well. And we have many courses that we teach in ABE that are in these spaces. So with that, I'm gonna share my screen real quick because I wanted to just show over to this cool little slide deck and your little poll over here. Everyone, the biggest vote getter was internships, and then everything else was pretty similar. So I would encourage you to see, if you said, yes, I want to do these things, hold yourself accountable, hold your friends accountable, go out and do it. It's a great experience. Yeah, these things are really what enrich your experience here, regardless of whether you come and do so in ABE, wherever you land, try to do your most, get the most out of Purdue because it's a pretty special place. And we are near the end, so hang in there, only a few more slides left. All right, Dr. Evans, take it away.
So we wanted to give you an idea of places you would work if you came out of the ag engineering side. So I went back through and looked at data from wherever our alumni have gone. And these are the kind of companies where our graduates end up. So as you would expect, there's quite a few in the major ag machinery industry. So CNH, John Deere, AGCO. But we're not just pigeonholed to that. So there are a lot in the hydraulics, Parker, Eaton, as well as just other mechanical engineering or traditionally mechanical engineering fields. So Ford, Toyota, Honda, we have a recent graduate at Chrysler Fiat, and then things you wouldn't necessarily think of like ADM, which is an elevator for grain, and United Dairy Farmers of America. So quite a broad spectrum of where you can go, and that just kind of speaks to the broad spectrum of skills that you get with a degree in agricultural engineering.
Similarly, we've grabbed data from our recent grads in the E&RE majors, maybe the past 10 years or so. Some of these are firms that you might know and some that you might not. Several of these are kinds of engineering consulting companies like Wildlands Engineering, like BF&S, actually right here in Lafayette, Christopher Burke, Tetra Tech. These are companies that do engineering design on land, water, soils, water quality, development work, hydrologic modeling, landscape design, things like that. And so a lot of our students choose to go that path, and they often get their PE license in doing so. And it's a great opportunity. I actually do have my PE as well, so it's a lot of fun to kind of work on side projects with some of those companies for senior design. Many of them have partnered with us to do so, which is pretty great. But you also see some governmental agencies, and sometimes this works in the permitting and policy implementation side, or it might be working in the research side. So you might go to USDA and work in a research lab, or work at the IDEM, which is the place where Megan did her internship, which is basically the state level EPA, and do field-based work, policy work, or implementation of regulations and trying to make, you know, consistent policy across the state. So lots of options. And there are actually a few folks who do go to industry and they work at places like Bechtel. We have a recent grad working in their sustainability group there. She actually gets to go to where they've got new and new power plants being built and making sure that the site design is sustainable, managing for water and other natural resources on site. So lots of variety of company options as well. And so with that, I think we are to the end of our slideshow, but not the end of our day, hopefully. So if there's anything exciting that you've heard or just want to know a little bit more, the QR code has been floating up there in the top right corner the entire time, but it's conveniently front and center-ish, again, up in this one. So take a look and scan it in and answer a couple questions, and we'll be sure to reach out and get you connected with students, with those of us professors here or elsewhere who might be of interest in connecting with you. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Nate Engelberth, who is going to tell you what we're doing next.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I was confused for a moment because it said the host has spotlighted your video, and that's me, so I was confused for a moment. So, hello, everyone. As Dr. McMillan said, that QR code in the upper right-hand corner is your best way to tell us that you want to learn more. Get invited to tour the building. You'd be one of the first groups to get go through it. We get to go first. We get to go first, but then you'll get to go. We're very excited about it. If you want to just type in the URL, it is bit.ly/ABEEYM. It is case sensitive. Make sure they're all caps. So if you want to just do that, that's fine. Our next activity is because we have two majors here, you know, you've heard a lot about ag engineering, environmental natural resources engineering. But to get into the specifics of classes and things like that, we're going to break you up, so to speak, into breakout rooms. So in order to facilitate that, you have a job to do here, which is to rename yourself in Zoom. So you need to follow the instructions there, either if you're on Zoom on your phone or if you're on Zoom on your computer. Follow the instructions listed there and rename yourself and put AE in front of your name or ENRE in front of your name. And we're going to give you a minute or two to do that. And then I believe Krishna is going to go ahead and put up that QR code for attendance for this event. And then while that's up, he's going to go ahead and maybe give you a minute there and start putting everybody into the Ag Engineering breakout room with Dr. Evans and with our ambassadors, or the ENRE breakout room with Dr. McMillan and some of our ambassadors. So do rename yourself. If you weren't sure which one to go with whichever one you're at 51% surety, and then just make sure you provide your information to us. And then what we plan to do is invite you all to a more specific info session with more faculty and more students later in the term. We're just doing all the EYMs first, and then we're going to have that event. So there will be opportunities to learn more about the other major that you don't happen to go into today. So with that, I'll just give us a second. I'm not monitoring the chat. So Krishna, how's it looking as far as students renaming themselves? Are we making progress?
Yes, I think we just need a minute, I think, at max.
Okay, we'll give you all a minute to rename. If you've already renamed yourself, this would be a great opportunity to fill out that info, either using the URL or finding that QR code to go to our survey, just to indicate you want to learn more. And then Krishna, I'll leave it to your discretion as far as when enough students have done the renaming. And then once you feel like we're at a pretty good critical mass, go ahead and throw up that QR code, give them a little bit of time, and then let's shift everybody to breakout sessions.
Yeah, I'll just announce in 30 seconds that breakout rooms will start, and we should be good to go.
Okay. I think what I'll do then is, would you like to throw up the attendance QR at this point? Because just to be clear, everybody, we're going to do the breakouts, and then we're not coming back here. I think I'm going to hang out here in case there are questions or something like that. But I believe that's the plan. Dr. McMillan, Dr. Evans, correct me if I'm mistaking that. So that's the plan. So once you go into breakout sessions, once those end, we hope to hear more from you.
Okay, so I'll start sharing the QR code for the attendance. And
yep, and I just ended my share.
And while he's doing that, I just wanted to say thank you so much. I'm sure I won't get to talk to everybody today, but just thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming today and listening to us share a little bit about our department and some of our students' experiences, and look forward to talking to you a little bit more. But thank you so much for your time. It's been great. Patience with the Zoom and the technology. Sometimes it works great, and sometimes get a little glitch here and there.
Yeah, I'm just looking for the right screen to share. Oh, again, all right. Let me just